Hey everyone, Once Bitten here with the battle report for game 2 of the tournament I went to recently. So again, it's 3,000 points, no Grand Army rules. You can have one hero level special character. This is a kind of a modified dawn attack scenario. Um, you roll off for each unit like you do in dawn attack, but you still place them one at a time. So, like for instance, I would place a unit, he would place a unit, and we'd go back and forth. So you would roll for a unit, place it, and you wouldn't really know where your other units were going to go when you did it. So also he had kind of there was a poison gas vortex scenario. Basically, you could nominate one character to have this ranged attack that basically shot out a small template, and then it remained for the rest of the game, and at the beginning of everybody's turn would scoot around like d6 times the turn number in a random direction. It did d6 wounds, strength 3, no armor save. So, if we're being honest, when I read that scenario, I was a little bit miffed because I felt it was very anti-Bretonnian. Because d6 strength 3, no armor saves isn't going to affect the demon army one bit, but it will. That thing bouncing through my lines every turn, twice a turn, would devastate my knights. So yeah, so I'm kind of starting this game a little bit cranky, not cranky, but a little bit miffed about this scenario. Anyway, he's got some Nurglings on the left. I didn't realize when I deployed that they were scouts, so I would have deployed slightly differently, but whatever. He's got the Mask special character hiding behind that hill, a Seeker. Then he's got a block of Demonettes with a Herald, a block of Bloodletters in the woods with a Herald, Fleshhounds, some Flamers with a Herald, and another Seeker. He's got a Bloodthirster behind the house, some Harpies, and another unit of Bloodletters. Well, as you can see, when I rolled Dawn Attack, 4 of my units came in on my right-hand side. So I put my fast cav over here almost one of my first drops, just because I didn't care where they were, and I just wanted to put them as far in the corner as possible, out of the way. Then all my knights and characters came over here as well. So got my questy knights, knights errant with the errantry banner with my general, knights of the realm with 3 characters in there equipped as you can see, and then the Grail knights are actually in the middle, but I put them to the right of the middle because I wanted a space left for more knights, and then all my knights ended up going on the right. So there's that gap. There's a trebuchet, men-at-arms in the woods. That weird thing to the right of the men-at-arms is an objective marker. I have another trebuchet, some archers, my peg knights. Growleek was in the far left, as were those other archers. So if I knew he had scouts, I would have just kind of straightened those archers out so that if he deployed them where he ended up doing it, they could have shot at him. But not a big deal. So I Vanguard up, and we go to Bretonnian turn 1. He actually wanted me to go first, so I was happy to do that. I shuffled my guys forward. I wanted the men-at-arms out of the woods because you can't be steadfast in woods. I wanted to get up with my knights so that I would have options to charge, stay back enough so I didn't get charged. Really what my plan is to take all my big blocks of knights and pull them to the left of the house and use my fast cav to keep his rightmost bloodletter unit out of the game. I don't really have a way of dealing with his bloodthirster. I mean, my general has a chance, but it's a very risky chance of taking him out. My best odds are just hitting him with the trebuchet, and I got 2 of them, so that's kind of what I want to do with this bloodthirster. Otherwise, I really think I can handle everything to the left of the board. You don't see my questy knights. I'm kind of hanging back with them. I want to swing them behind my lines, because if they go forward, those bloodletters are just going to crush them. Here you can see I move my archers, move my Growleek up, fly my peg knights up, and then I drop both rocks. I aim at this unit because that way if it's scattered, it had a better chance of hitting his stuff, and it couldn't see the bloodthirster, or else I would have targeted him. So yeah, so this unit of bloodletters in the woods, I think it started 25 strong. His other one looks like it's 30, but regardless, I feel like it took it down to a very, very manageable level. So we got our Demons turn 1. His Nurglings on the left, I think they charged my bowman. I did a standard shoot. I did no wounds. He failed the charge. We're just sitting there. He brought his Seeker kind of around and then faced him towards my knights. brought his blocks up as you can see, pulled his mask. That thing has movement 10, so it went from all the way in the far left corner to all the way here. And what that guy does is, at the beginning of his magic phase, he nominates one of my units, and that unit is at minus D3 leadership. Now, his herald with the blood letters there has the banner of -2 leadership to all enemy units within 6 inches. So very much kind of a leadership bomb kind of build here. You can see he puts a Seeker in front of my rightmost, the Knight of the Realm unit as a redirector, throws his Harpies up there to redirect my Knights Errant, and he brings his Bloodthirster out. So he gave the poison gas globe, whatever, to his herald with the flamers. They're in the building. And so he shoots it out. It lands directly in the middle of my knight unit and immediately scatters directly in front of my Grail Knights. So it kills 2 Knights of the Realm. And we go to Bretonnian turn 2. Let's see, on the left, I just fly my Peg Knights toward the middle of the board to give me more options of who to charge in future turns. Move my Grey Relique up. Here, I wanted to charge my Men-at-Arms and my Grail Knights into his Bloodletters. Now, first off, at the beginning of the turn, that damn template moved, went through my Grail Knights, and killed 2 of them. So, yeah, I mean, it's in hindsight, it's not a big deal. At the time, though, I was a little bit flustered. I really felt it was a biased scenario. I just really need to get over stuff like that. But anyway, I wanted to throw both these units at the Bloodletters, blow through them, get a free charge in the Herald, and at worst get a counter flank charge into my Men-at-Arms on his turn, and I don't care. The problem was he had the Siren Song and the Demonettes, and so the Men-at-Arms had to come in there. And so the Grail Knights weren't strong enough to hit the Bloodletters or the Fleshhounds and be able to pop them in combat. If I were 6 strong, I would have gone into the Fleshhounds. I think I could have beaten them in combat, popped them, and overrun. I could have also, with 6 strong, brought them in here and been much more of an effort. But without the Men-at-Arms, I didn't want to throw the Grail Knights at the Bloodletters. So after combat, I ended up losing combat by 1. I got Weissens off on the Men-at-Arms, so he didn't do a ton of wounds on my Men-at-Arms, but I just didn't do quite enough wounds, and my Grail Knights break. And after I took this picture, I removed my Standard Bearer, so yeah, wasn't thrilled with how things were going there. During my turn, I lobbed Trebuchet Rocks at the Bloodthirster, and they either veered off or whatever, didn't hit them. Both of these units, I charged the Redirectors, easily beat them, popped them through combat, and then just reformed. So here I'm thinking, the Bloodletters on the right aren't going to be able to charge my Knights. I'll just sacrifice my Fast Cav to them. If his General comes into my General's unit, that's actually kind of good. I'm starting with a lot of static combat res, and my General has a chance to survive the Bloodthirster's attacks, and then he has a really decent chance of getting Heroic Killing Blow on him. If he fails, I still have a lot of combat res, so I'm okay if he charges there. I was thinking his General and his Fleshhounds might come into my BSB's unit, in which case it wouldn't be a big deal. I'm stubborn and have a lot of static combat res. What he did, I thought, was a very good move. It kind of surprised me. One, he brought his Bloodletters and his General into my Knights of the Realm. And the Bloodletters needed a decent charge to get there, but they made it, obviously. But then he marched his Mask special character up 20 inches to sit there. So my unit's going to be stubborn, but I'm at -2 leadership because of the Icon of Despair, and I'm going to be minus D3 leadership because of the Mask. And then during the magic phase, he gets Doom and Darkness off, so I'm stubborn on a 2. So at this point, I was a little bit cranky, for being honest. I was being a very quietly cranky, kind of being a bad sport. If you look on the left, his Fleshhounds, or somebody charged my Grail Knights, they had to flee, and so his Fleshhounds redirected into the flank of my Men-at-Arms. I think it was a really smart decision-making by my opponent of where he did his charges. So it looks like that. Over here, it looks like that. And so the big thing, and the Bloodthirster, of course, is in that combat. He just doesn't fit with the hill there. Normally, my plan would kind of be to accept the challenge with my Green Knight model. He's weapon skill 10 and has a re-rollable armor save, so I think he has the best chance of surviving against the Bloodthirster. But what I decided to do is sacrifice my champion to him so that if by some miracle we stick around, I can get a counter charge, and I don't want the Bloodthirster to be in a challenge. I want my general to be able to get a challenge with the Bloodthirster. So, but in all honesty, I don't expect to be around. I expect he has a charge and a ton of attacks by the Bloodthirster, and I am stubborn on a 2. And you look on the left, the Seeker charged my Grower Leak. Over here again, his little Nurgling guys did a charge to my Bowman. I did a stand and shoot and did some wounds on him. After combat, he won. I was stubborn and was able to reform, so now I'm facing him. And I reformed to give me ranks, just to give me more static combat res to hopefully pop him through that, because I don't think I'm going to get wounds on him. Over here, he easily crushed my men-at-arms. And I think I was steadfast, but it just didn't matter because it was steadfast 5. And he ran him down. And over here, I can't believe it. His Bloodthirster killed my champion. Otherwise, I only lost 1 knight, and he put 1 wound on my BSB. But I did enough wounds on him that I actually won combat. But of course, they're not going to break. He passed his rolls. I don't think he even suffered much from it. So, yeah. So this is really what it all comes down to. I can't leave my BSB's unit alone because all I have to do is lose combat once, and that's the game. So I took my general's unit into the flank of the Bloodthirster because I'm thinking, you know what, I'm going to get a challenge with him. I'll have a charge, 3 ranks of flank, and then if I can survive the challenge, my general has a decent chance of getting heroic killing blow off. He'll be hitting on 2s with the Tress of Isolde, and I get to re-roll failed rolls to wound. So I'll be strength 6 to his toughness 6, so I'm only wounded on a 4. So what I'm hoping is to either roll a 6 or roll under a 4 so I can re-roll the things and get a 6. If I can do that, for every time I get the heroic killing blow, I get all 6 of his wounds. So it's a lot of static combat res. I might be able to pop the unit, do an overrun, and get out of the way of the Bloodthirsters coming in. Or if nothing else, reform to face them, hopefully hold up a turn and countercharge with my Questing Knight. So that's what all the thinking is going behind this. On the left, the Peg Knights charge the rear of the Fleshhounds. I don't know what my odds are of winning or losing that, but it feels somewhat desperate. I need to get as many points as I can. Otherwise, my Grail Knights fail to rally, which might have been a good thing, get farther away from the Demonettes. If they choose to charge them, there's a decent chance they'll push them off the board, but if I rallied and stayed, they just would have crushed me anyway. So it looks like that. And I'm really rooting. No, this was after combat. So we get in the challenge. His general only does 1 wound. His Bloodthirster only does 1 wound to my general. So I do all my attacks, and I don't get heroic killing blow. And in fact, I don't get any wounds on the guy. So I win combat. He loses nothing. You know, maybe a Bloodthirster. I mean a Bloodletter. So, and that's, at that point, I know it's the game, because I won combat again, so all this leadership bomb doesn't matter. But next time, he has a really easy charge with his Bloodletters in the top right into the flank of my Knights Errant, and yeah, I mean, that's the game. Peg Knights popped the Fleshhounds, which I think was more than they should have done, which I was thrilled with. Grower Leak beat the Seeker and reformed, and none of this matters. We go to Demon's turn 3. He gets the only charge that matters in on the upper right. So overall, it looks like this. The Grail Knights ran off the table because he charged him. The Nurglings, it's like this totally insignificant battle on the left-hand side. The Nurglings charge my Bowman. I do a stand and shoot. He's down to 1 of them against my Bowman. He moves the mask around. Again, it doesn't matter. And after combat, yeah, it was a foregone conclusion. I mean, I was on leadership 2. He easily won combat, and it just, yeah, everybody broke. He ran him down. The Bloodletters on the right got a free charge to my Questing Knights. Yeah, and then that insult to injury, the Nurgling does no wounds to my archers, and he still wins combat because they were steadfast on a 5. Yeah, looks like that. We go to Bretonnian turn 4. I charge these guys into the back of this unit. I really have no real hope of winning. I might be able to kill the Herald, but why not? On his turn, you know, we get locked in combat. My Peg Knights don't do nearly enough. Bloodthirster charges a trebuchet. The Bloodletters charge the or beat the questy knights in combat and run them down. The Mask charges my character there in the woods. And I could have fled with her, but he's got movement 10. I mean, he was going to catch her. So yeah, he beat everybody, of course, and that was the game. So I think it was a real smart game by my opponent. I think I have kind of an attitude against demons. I've always struggled against the new demon book, and I wonder sometimes if it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I don't know, but and yeah. Anyway, that was game two. An absolute crushing loss. I think I got 1 point. My opponent, I think, got 20 points. Um, yeah, wonderful, great. So I've one win and one loss going into round three of the tournament.